this tutorial we're going to light this scene from scratch and use the built-in Blender compositor to add some color grading to the final shot. This is going to be the first and the last video that I'm going to do on the built-in Blender compositor. Please just use DaVinci Resolve. Just so you know, every key that I press is going to be displayed on the bottom left so you can see exactly what I'm doing. To get started, you're going to download this project file from the link in the description below, and we're going to start by placing a camera into the scene. We're going to aim it at this position roughly, apply the view, go back a little bit, and this looks good. Let's go to the pathbar 2 and turn it up to 1. Let's select the rendered view and see how it looks. As of right now, the scene is completely horrible. So first we're going to zero out the ambient lighting, so we have a pitch black scene. First we're going to need a spotlight, so let's create one. We're going to position it roughly here and aim it in this direction. Let's head over to the properties and set 10 kilowatts for the power, 1 meter for the radius, 100 degrees for the spot size, and set the blend to 1. Let's scale it by 2 and bring it a bit closer to the scene like this. Then we're going to create a gobo light, basically some sort of mesh that obstructs the view of this light, so we have some nice shadows on the ground. To do that, we're going to create a plane first, rotate it and put it somewhere over here. Move it to the side and scale it by the z-axis. Then we're going to duplicate it a few times and join the final mesh like this. Let's bring it closer to the light and also rotate the light a bit, something like this. Let's see how it looks. And we already have some really nice shadows, as you can see, on the ground. But the problem is we don't want to see this gobo mesh, so let's select it, head over to the object properties, to visibility, and deselect camera. Next we're going to create an area light and put it somewhere over here and aim it at this tree. We're going to set 500 watts for the strength and leave everything else as it is. Let's see how it looks. So the problem with the first spotlight is that it is a bit too bright and it illuminates this portion of the scene as well, and I would like to have it a bit darker so we have a nice contrast from here into this portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it a bit to the side like this. Now this looks good on its own, but we're going to add some fog to it. So to create a fog volume, we're going to create a cube first and position it roughly in the center, scale it up, click the object properties tab and scroll down and select display as bounce. Go to the material, click new, rename it to fog and select principled volume for this and go over to the shading tab, connect this to the volume and select 0.005 for the density and 0.9 for the anisotropy. Let's see how it looks. Let's move the camera a bit closer to the scene and a bit to the side like this. Let's rotate this area light a bit away from the camera so it's not apparent in the volume, and also scale it up by 2. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Before we hit render, let's organize our outliner by moving these two lights into the lights collection. Then rename the cube to fog and move it into the environment. As well as the plane, let's rename it to gobo and move it into the environment as well. Then let's head into the compositor, and here's where we're going to apply some color grading to our shot. First we're going to need a glare, put it over here and select fog glow as the type. Set the mix to -0.8 and the threshold to 0 and the size to 9. Then let's add some lens distortion. Set the distortion to 0.02 and the dispersion to 0.01. Next we're going to apply a filter and set the type to diamond sharpen. Then we're going to apply a tone map, set the type to RH simple and the key to 0.04 and the gamma to 0.7. Then finally we're going to apply a color balance node, and for that we need to see the image first. Go over to the render tab and select 0.04 for the noise threshold. Then head over to the resolution and set it to 100 so we have a low resolution preview for compositing, and at the end you can crank it up to 400%. Select TIFF as the format and we're good to go. Hit F12 and wait for the render to finish, and while you're waiting make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out any new episodes. Hit Ctrl Shift and click on this node to preview it in the compositor, and let's make the preview smaller by clicking on view and lowering the zoom, something like this. Then we're going to push the lift to a bluish color, then our gamma to a yellowish color, and finally the gain to a yellowish orange as well. We're not finished yet, so if you look closer you're going to see that this area light is really apparent in the fog. To fix this we have to move and rotate it a bit. Let's select our area light, go to the object tab and move it a bit. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, this is much better. I'm going to do the same with this spotlight. So now hit 400% for the resolution scale and hit F12 for a final render. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.